Y'all, SlabOGsTV, back at it again with another interview. Subscribe to the channel. Today we got another OG in here from Scenic Wood over in Homestead. He's gonna tell you about this slab that, from his perspective, coming off of the north side. So, introduce yourself and tell us where you from.
I'm Brock, aka Slick, but I actually started putting these cars together in '87. And I was in high school over there at Forest Brook. And back then, even we rode wheels or whatever back then, wheels. But if you rode elbows, you was on a whole nother level.
Yeah. And tell me how it was like coming up over here on Homestead, because on my channel we interview a lot of the OGs and that rode slab, and from the perspective of a viewer, they gonna think that it was mainly on the south side, but from what I know from back in the day, on the north side, on Homestead especially, it was slabs coming down 80s and 90s. So tell me how it was, in the 80s and 90s, what was Homestead like?
Well, back then, when you fixed up the slab, most of the guys back then had wheels and bows. And back then, if you had a set of elbows, you was the man. And pretty much all the cars was already intact. You didn't have to, most of the time, you didn't have to do nothing to the insides or nothing like that.
Because it was so new, so if it was in the 80s and you got a 81, this 88, it's
the
like...
inside was still mint.
Yeah.
And basically what you would do was put your wheels on now, and then if it needed painting, you would paint it. But back then, most of the time, you would try to go back original, just with the wheels on it. Until I got a cousin, he had a 76 Monte Carlo, candy apple red. And that's when I fell in love with the candy paint. We all was in high school, and I fell in love with that paintbrush.
And I know back in the day, it was more so like 77 Monte Carlo, 77 Regal, 77 Cutlass. So what made those kind of cars, pop up? Because I know during that time, in the 80s, it was them cars, and in the 90s, it was more so the L-Dogs and the Rivies, the drop Rivies. So what made people gravitate in the early 80s, gravitate towards those cars?
Well, because that was going on. You had the MC, the Monte Carlos, you had the Cutlasses, you had the Regals. That's what more prevalent to fix up the MCs, the Regals, the Cutlasses. Just like my boy across the street, he had I think that was a 76 Cutlass with elbows on them or whatever. It was real nice.
And when people during this time, like you say, like the interior is mint condition, the paint was kind of mint condition. So how was they fixing up their cars? Were they just getting these wheels and just putting them on these cars, or were they adding on, a few things?
They was adding on. And even then, they was painting them. If it wasn't up to their certification, they would paint them. And if the insides wasn't up to par, or it wasn't a color, they would go to the upholstery shop.
So what was some of the people that was riding during this time on Homestead? Just to let the viewers know, like, these names, because there's certain names on the south side that they know. There's a couple names on the north side that they know, but from your perspective, coming up, because you came up so early, who was before you?
Man, I done forgot more names than I could tell you. But I can speak on the guys that was kind of up on my level that fixed up around the same amount of cars I fixed up, or even more, like B-Mac, Loud City Gas, and you had me over here. Who else it was? I'm trying to think. Let's see, you got me going in the timeline, because we talking about some stuff 25 or 30 years ago.
30, 40 years ago,
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to go back or whatever, but that was you had a few guys over here that was doing like your dad. You know what I mean? He had the two-door. And you know how long ago that's been? That was
30 years ago, literally.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
But some things still pop up in your head.
Yeah.
Now, like if a guy walk up right now and he had a slab back then, I can instantly remember what slab he had and what was going on with it or whatever. But
What was the main neighborhoods that had slabs? 'Cause, you know, in Homestead, it's probably, you know, just off breaking to the streets or whatever, it's probably 10 neighborhoods.
Scenic Wood and Rosewood.
So Scenic Wood and Rosewood was kind of like the only ones that was rolling back then.
We rolled the most. We had the most slabs, you know.
So what was your first car that you put together?
My first car that I put together was a 78 Buick Limited. That was the first car I put together.
And how did you do it?
Well, actually I got that car, it was my grandmother's car. And then when my grandmother passed away, my mom wound up with it. My mom had several cars, so then after that I wound up with it. All I had to do was put some wheels on it and some music.
So during this time, you know, nowadays, like youngsters like myself, when we get wheels, it's more so like we go online to get them. We know everybody in the city that got them. So how was y'all getting them back then?
Man, the only way you could get a set of elbows if you had a good friend that was willing to come up off of them. You can get them like that. You can go take them. You can steal them, take them, or buy them. 3 ways.
Yeah.
Couldn't go buy them at the store. You would have to buy them off the street. So when I say buy, I ain't talking about going to the store like these kids, you know, how it is now. We were the generation that made them start making them again. Because we was losing our lives behind them. People was getting hurt. There was a bunch of, you know, shit behind them damn wheels.
Would you say, because I always hear from a lot of the OGs that basically it was more cars than wheels. Would you say it was more
cars than wheels?
Yeah.
The wheels was very hard to get.
Yeah.
And then if you probably get some, it wasn't a glass set.
So if you was to say like people that was fixing up cars around here, you could probably count them on your hands and feet, you know, how many it was, because it just wasn't that many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like how it is now, man.
Yeah.
It's totally different now, man.
So when you was coming down in your first car, how old was you?
Man, I was about 17.
17?
16, 17 years old, man.
How did that feel being so young, riding on some wheels like that?
Man, I didn't even have lights. And you just, you know, everybody, you know, gravitated to you, you know what I mean? They respected you because they know you were doing big things. If you had a nice car like that with some wheels on it, they knew you was doing big things.
Did you have music in your first one?
Yeah, I had music and everything, man.
This one of the first questions, you know, on this interview that I've asked, but I've always thought of this. What was your favorite song that you would come through bumping in your slab that just made you feel clean? Scarface. Yeah. Okay. And who did you get your first set of wheels from?
It may have been B-Mac when I got, you know, I got a set of wheels. I really, you know, I take that lot back. I bought it from somebody that took it. Yeah, that's how I got my first set. I traded them for, I had some wheels on my car, wheels and bows at first, and I traded them wheels and bows for the elbows and some cash. Yeah.
So was it like, you know, during this time, like you say, it was just more sort of car stealing and all that. That was more of the more plentiful way that you can get those wheels. And everybody say that, you know, Homestead was more the takers, you know. So was you seeing that during that time?
Yeah, I was seeing that.
Yeah. How was that living during that era? Like, what was that era like?
Man, you had to keep your eyes open at all times. Slippers got caught, you out of there, you know what I mean? Even I done got caught slipping 2 or 3 times. But I was the kind of dude, I knew what was going on. If you take my car or steal my car, 30 days later I'm riding and you looking, whoever be done got it, they probably looking like, damn, how you do that? I had an extra set of wheels in the house. I had extra music. I always had extra.
Yeah.
You know, if you see me riding a set of wheels, I got another set in the house on deck.
Yeah.
So that's how I did.
Yeah. And I know during this time, a lot of people say that you had the most cars. So was that first car, was that kind of like the spark of just you just being like, man, I'm just gonna fix up all these cars? Was it the notoriety? You coming through school or coming through a club, or you know, we in Scenic Wood Park right now, coming through Scenic Wood Park? Just tell me how that felt, just rolling through and all
Man,
that.
you thought you was the shit. You 16, 17 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and you rolling like that. You the man back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had all the women you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, you know,
Was women kind of understanding what they was looking at?
man, they was going from hood to hood.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to a partner of mine not too long ago. You know, the girls, they may gravitate over here to Scenic Wood, then they may gravitate over here to Rosewood, then they might gravitate to Northwood Manor. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of kept a little beef going on too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did y'all have like you know, mainly the main spots, you know, kind of like far from Homestead? So back then, did y'all have like some spots? I know I heard of Gucci's.
Yeah.
Did y'all have spots that y'all was hitting back then? Like, where was y'all going when y'all fixed up y'all car?
Me, I used to like to hit the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Why
telling
was
what,
that?
huh?
Why you didn't like to hit the highway?
I said I used to like to hit the
Oh,
highway.
you used to like to hit the highway.
Yeah, ain't no telling where I might be. I might be in an old little country town, or anywhere, Galveston, you know, anywhere. Because when we hit that highway, I always used to tell them, see, when I fix my cars up, I started under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
I do the motor, front end, and then I start on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a heavy foot.
Yeah.
If I get you on that highway and you ain't ready, you're gonna blow your motor up trying to keep up with me.
Mm-hmm. So was it like you say, basically like, you know, you had a heavy foot or whatever? You know, nowadays people like to swing and race and all that. So y'all was doing that back then?
We the ones started that.
Yeah.
But
Cause I heard that before too. Like back then y'all was doing it, but y'all wasn't doing it as hard as we doing it now.
Well, they half of the cats can't. We really started that because I can remember we was into it with some guys or whatever, and I called myself gonna show out, and I had like a '75 Pontiac, candy, white top, white guts, 05 music. I would drop the top and start off right here on Homestead and Parking and roll all the way down Homestead. This is before they put the bridge, way before they put the bridge down there on Larry Copy. I made start right here on Homestead, Larry Copy, right on the wrong side of Homestead, shaking it all the way down there by Rosewood before I get back on the other side of the road. Nowadays, I see them tearing that shit up. We wasn't tearing our shit up back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they got the longer wheels on now or what, but I see them running into each other a lot and tearing that shit up. We wasn't doing that. We wasn't chancing running up on somebody's bumper or door and stopping it all of a sudden. We wasn't doing it like that.
And y'all wheels were more precious back then. So
that's right.
So how much was you? Cause I you know, they always say that it was $10,000 a set, but when I talk to, you know, interview just different OGs, they say it wasn't that much, like, especially at the very, very beginning. So how much did you get your first, you know, couple sets for?
I think you could probably get you a set for about 2,000, 2,500.
You
know what I mean? But it wasn't no 10,000.
And one thing I always hear, just the difference between the North and the South, that y'all would call y'all fours threes and they would call they threes fours. Is that something you familiar with?
Yeah.
What was the reason behind that? I never understood that.
Well, some of them, all of them call them 84s when they're 83s.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys don't even know the difference.
So what's the difference?
Well, the difference is the 83s are more, the 84s are more, if you look at them they look like a star
Mhm.
in a sense.
Mhm.
No, that's the 83s that mostly look like a star. It look like they got more spokes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And during this time, I know now, anybody can just go put a set on some cars and all that. How was it back then to where the streets tied in so much with the cars? Because, everybody that was riding, majority, I'd say 99% of the people that was riding on these wheels was more so in the streets. So what was going on during the streets to where, somebody will get some money and they'll be like, I'm going to go put some wheels on the car. Was that just like your status, your symbol to buy them wheels and put them on your car?
Well, that just topped off your swag, I would say, back then. That would top it off.
Was y'all getting flack from the police back then?
Man, the police were tearing our ass up back then.
Because I would think that, back then it was so new and so fresh to where police might have thought that was just a clean car.
Nah,
Yeah.
they was sweating us.
Mm-hmm.
They was sweating. I was young. I was getting in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, they was sweating us. I know I was getting sweaty.
Yeah.
And
if you can speak upon it, I know back in the day there was a beef between Rosewood and Scenic Wood for a split second. Could you just clarify that?
Well, on that behalf, what it originally started was I had a partner of mine. He had a 98, and I think they went in a paint shop. Not saying who, but it was allegedly that they went and stole his car at the paint shop, and he had his wheels on it. And he got wind that they allegedly went in there and got his car. And from then on, he was terrorizing. Anything he felt like coming across them tracks down there, he was fading them. They couldn't come across the track without getting bothered. And when we went on that end, same thing. But I didn't bother. I went everywhere and anywhere. As long as I had my
Yeah. And I know a minute ago you said that you had got your car taken a couple times, like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I had so many cars. The first time I had fell out with a guy, and I left my car running. In some kind of way, I'm into it with him, and I was so quick to fight back then that I done forgot my car running. And I'm thinking that somebody that was with me was making sure my car was right. The next thing I know, the dude that I was fighting with, he somebody gave him a pistol. And so since I hadn't got the best of him, he got hold to a pistol. One of my boys. What's up, Flip? Yes, sir. That boy there, he fixed him up too. But back then, where was I? Oh, okay, about the Rosewood, Scenicwood thing. But he just faded everything that came across them tracks, and vice versa. When we go down there, it's gonna be some trouble.
And I would think that, like I said a minute ago, it's 10 neighborhoods over here. So was it a lot of friction during that time over here? Because I know, now everybody just consider Homestead, one big family. But, if it's 10 neighborhoods and it's a lot of boys.
There was a little friction.
Yeah.
There was a little friction. And the wheels or whatever didn't just bring that. It was the females, too. Because, you had females, hey, they like this over here that's going on. And I'd get tired of that. They may want to run over here. And so everybody wasn't on the same level when it came to that, because you had some jealous cats, couldn't let go or whatever. But that brought on some friction too. Yeah.
What neighborhood over here is more closer to Scenic Wood? Not like closer in like length, but like growing up, did y'all just mess with more?
Man, I can say, man, I was everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I was really even down there at Rosewood, even though we, had some falling outs or whatever. I was even down there. I just didn't care, man. I rode wherever I rode.
Yeah.
As long as I had my heater with me, I rode by myself.
Slant back right there. Was y'all going to, the south side during this time?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just scared to come out here.
Yeah,
They still scared to come out here, I heard.
yeah.
But we would go, man, we would pack up and go to MLK in a New York second, man. Just on a good sunny day,
Did they respect y'all when y'all was coming through, being from the north side? Just like,
They knew we was from the north, though.
but was they like y'all was to pass by, like, the north side car clean?
Yeah, right, yeah. They
Yeah.
couldn't help but say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of all your cars that you had, because you done had so many, which one was probably your favorite slab?
All of them.
All of them?
Now, but I would say I had a blue fleet, white top, with sunroof, all that. That one and my paw.
Okay. Well, both of them had white insides, right?
Yeah. Well, the fleet had blue crush.
Yeah.
The insides was fresh. I didn't touch it.
Okay.
But the paw, I went through it.
Yeah.
I went through the whole car on that paw.
And during this time, like nowadays, it'll be kind of like fads when people put a car together. Like they might only like the gray, they might only like the butter. So what made it to where back then in the 80s and 90s that the tight white insides was that was like kind of the thing that everybody wanted to do?
It looked good, man.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah.
Especially on some candy paint. And then after the white kind of, I would say kind of play out, that's when the butter came in. Everybody started doing the butter. But me, I was rolling that white, man.
Yeah.
I had a few cars with that butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say if somebody was to ask you, if somebody say, what is a slab? What car and how would it be done to? You'd be like, that's a true authentic slab.
Well, it won't be no Nissan, or it won't be no BMW or nothing like that.
Yeah.
It'll be in the class range of Riviera, Buick Riviera, all the Cadillacs, Monte Carlo, Regal, and 98 Oldsmobiles, or Oldsmobiles, period.
Do they have to have fifth wheels?
If you wanted to be complete.
That's another question I had. When did people start? Who was kind of like the first person that you saw with a fifth wheel?
I can't remember that one.
Yeah.
But I knew I was up there in the runnings.
Yeah.
I was up there in the runnings.
Okay.
Because everything I did from the 90s had a fifth. Now my cars in the 80s, I didn't have no fifths on there. But when I got like to 91, 92, yeah, that's when the fifth started coming in.
Okay. What's your thoughts on the new era slab riders?
Them boys nasty.
Yeah.
They nasty.
Do you like the way that they do the new slabs to where it's like it might not necessarily be a newer car. Not an older car, but it's a newer car.
The new, I respect the new ones, just as long as it's in the Buick, Cadillac, it's however you choose to do it,
Yeah.
Because everybody, I know that the newer cars are more easier to fix up.
Yeah.
When you get an old car, you got a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
And I see how these cars stand in the paint shop 2, 3, 5, 6 months, 8 months, a year. I've been looking at that, and we didn't have that problem unless you ain't had your money together.
What was the main shops y'all was going to on this side of town?
Well, you had Harris. I got a few cars painted up there on Tidwell and Hirsch.
Okay.
You had Harris, you had Tidwell. There was one more that everybody was kind of going to grab.
Was y'all getting y'all music done from Condre? Because that's another name that I always hear.
Condre,
that put the music
Condre
together.
stayed on the next road up on the next street over from me, so Condre did a lot of my music.
Okay.
And then I had a guy in Lakewood that did a lot of my music. Yeah,
Okay.
those was the two.
Yeah. So what eras was you like? What was the years that you was riding, and what was the reason you stopped?
Well, I rode between 87 and 95. I started out in high school. I had 3 cars in high school, 3 different cars in high school.
What
I
was
had
those
I had a Buick, an Oldsmobile, and a Cadillac in high school.
Was they all on fours?
Yeah.
Or all on elbows?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 95, okay, when the 90s rolled around, man, I started fixing 1 car and I had 2 slabs. That was another thing. You know, like how everybody had 1 slab, 1 nice slab, I had 2. You know, I had kept 2 slabs at a time in the 90s. And I stopped rolling when I got in a lot of trouble. You know, I had got in some trouble in 94 and it rolled over into 95. In 95, I had to go sit out.
What happened in that situation?
Well, I had what, 3 cases, man. I had some drug cases and all kind of stuff. So I had to go sit out.
And
that's what really basically ended my career.
Yeah.
Because by the time I came back, you know, I let the other guys, the younger generation, have it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't fixed up no car since when I came back. But I did. I started something new, like, you know, I went into the big body, like truck era, and the motorcycle. I was more into that than the elbows, because I knew what I had went through all those years fixing up them slabs, all the sleep I lost, the money I lost.
And you did it during the era when it was more important. It meant something to ride.
Yeah. And see, like I look at guys now, they wouldn't have made it back in my era. They wouldn't have made it, man.
Why you say that? Because you just had to be so tough and you had to have a pistol during that time?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But you might have a pistol, still get your shit took.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter how they, you know, when I come back, I see how they was rolling, and then plus they started for what, a couple of years before they actually start making wheels, they were saying, well, we're gonna start back making wheels, because every time you turn the TV on, somebody was dead behind the wheels. So when they realized, I didn't believe they was gonna be able to make some, but they come up with a pattern and start making some, man. And I was like, man, I wish I wish they'd have had it back then.
Yeah, because a lot of lives would have been saved.
Yeah, man.
Did you know about any people? Did you know any people that might have lost their lives doing this, riding on these wheels?
I can't remember, but you definitely would see it on the news, man. Yeah, you definitely would see it on the news, and just think about all the stuff all the people that you didn't hear about.
My next question is, would you put another car together, put another slab together?
Man, I be wanting to come out of retirement so bad, but I know my daughter now.
Yeah.
You know, when you got grandkids and grown daughters, and they remember, you know, riding in back seats and stuff, you know. So now if I fix up another car, it would be a convertible Cadillac. If I could find me a convertible Cadillac that I could tweak up a little bit, yeah, I pull it out on Memorial Day or Easter Sunday or something like that every now and then. I wouldn't mind having one, man.
I don't know if I asked you this before, but what you think about the long wheels?
They cool.
They
I like
cool.
them. Yeah, if we'd have had long wheels back then, this song would have been a mess.
Yeah.
But I like them though. I like them.
Okay. Yeah. My last question before we get up out of here, I ask on every interview, could you name your top 5 greatest slabs of all time?
Mine's or everybody's?
Everybody's, and from every era.
Okay. I'll put me in there. I'll put B-Mac in there. I would put my Kinfolk Binky in now.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, that's my little cousin. He the one that inspired me on the candy paint. Because he had that Monte Carlo, man, it had a deep candy on there. Yeah, he was one of the first to come out with the candy paint. And that was in high school.
Yeah. He was in high school with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 3, 2 more.
Man. 2 more. Because I want to give you some good ones. Give me time. I want to give you some good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give you. I don't want to give you nobody that just throws something together and called it a slab.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you 2 that they went through it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a hard one now. As we talking about something 30 years ago.
Yeah. Just cars that you could just remember.
Your dad, man. I put your dad up in there, man.
Yeah, WB.
Yeah, I put WB in there.
Yeah. What was he riding in? I mean, I'm 26, so what was he riding in?
In that 2 though. He had a 2-door coupe.
Yeah.
On 5.
Yeah.
He was one of the first ones who rode Phil's with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Yeah, he was one of the first ones to roll Phil.
Last one.
I'm trying to think. I want to try to give you some good ones, man. I'm trying to give you some good ones. I want to try to give you somebody out of another neighborhood. I would say I liked it the way in Northwood Manor there, the way Alfred used to fix his cars up. He owned 26 motorcycles.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it, that Regal, man. He had 2, 3 Regals, man. That was real nice, man.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Any shout outs you want to give before we get up out of here?
Shout out to them boys that's still doing it.
Yeah.
I like what I see. Everybody got their generation, how they do it. But I want to give a shout out to all them boys, 50 bands, and the rest of them boys.
Yeah.
I passed the torch to 50 bands.
Yeah, it's called probably the hardest car. Probably the hardest car right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing he may want to go back and do is he got that hell of an inside in now. If he go back and I guess put some air up under there and change the dash shot to that new dash.
It'd be killing. Yeah. Speaking on that, would you got a message to the youth that's riding right now?
Yeah, just keep doing what y'all doing, man.
Yeah.
Y'all doing a good job, man. I like what I see.
Yeah. Man, already. Scenic Wood OG. You know what I'm saying? We got Brock in here, man. Y'all hit us up, subscribe to the channel.